Having your art stolen sucks. Having your art stolen and mass-produced sucks even more. My name is Alexandria Masse. I'm a textile artist, and recently, by recently I mean yesterday, I found out that my dragon hats were being produced in China and dropshipped from websites like Shein, AliExpress, Etsy, different marketplace websites. Instead of being upset about it, I thought I would make a fun little video and we could rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. By we, I mean me, and then you agree with me because my opinion is right. I'm just kidding. Also, this is my first talking video, so I am a little nervous. And my microphone is Apple headphones taped to a pom-pom pen, and that is my microphone for now, until I can get the right adapter. I hope this isn't too bad, and I also film on my iPhone. We're really going for quality here. So before we get started, we're going to talk about plagiarism. I know, the big P word. Okay, so I'm just gonna read off the definition of plagiarism. So Oxford Dictionary defines plagiarism as the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. By not crediting me, you are passing it off as your own. By just stealing my ideas, you're passing it off as your own. So, that's plagiarism. And I know there's a lot of fighting within the crochet, craft, knit, actually just the art community in general about what is plagiarism, what is inspiration. Well, this is obviously plagiarism because they literally took my thing and they're selling it. I'm not using the P word just to be rude. If you look at pretty much all the examples, you can see, and I will point them out, that there's this very specific characteristic, the 2 horns and then the 3 scales on the side. It's pretty obvious. That's all I gotta say. It's pretty obvious. They get some creativity, you know? Don't copy me directly. The dragon design is something very specific and unique. It's not like a different garment or a more common garment, like a shirt you wear every day. It's a baseball cap in the shape of a dragon. It doesn't really, this garment being very specific, it's quite obvious when it's plagiarized because it is my original idea, my original design. It's very specific. It's not just like a vest or a t-shirt. I would like to talk a bit about the history, and sorry if I'm looking back and forth. It's because I have everything written down. I made the first one February 3rd, 2022, and I have a photo of what it looked like before I even finished it, and I have it here with me right now. And I made a bunch of crochet headwear based off of my grandparents' restaurant called the Silver Dragon. So my mom's family came from Hong Kong when she was young, and my grandparents opened up a restaurant. It closed in 2010, so don't try looking it up. It doesn't exist anymore. I have a lot of fond memories there. A lot of memories of when I was a kid. It was a very important cultural connection I had, especially relating to food. The original dragon hat is based on their logo, and I can do a side-by-side, but it's very obviously based off of their Silver Dragon logo. The eyes specifically, scales, the double horn, those are all design elements that were taken from their original logo. So I didn't make the second dragon until about December 2022. I got a commission to make it in white, and I didn't post the photos, I think, until January, maybe? I can't even remember. But that one went viral. By viral, I mean 1 million views on Instagram, on different platforms too. When things go viral, they end up everywhere, all over Pinterest uncredited, all over different places, and it's nice to have your work appreciated, but when viral things happen, unfortunately, a lot of the time you're not credited. In this case, my design was just stolen. I believe those were the photos where it was stolen because I can show you a picture. One of the eyes has a white swirl and the other eye has a black swirl, and a lot of the copycats have the specific swirls, like white and black swirl, which is kind of an odd thing where it's just okay, that was very specific and unique to the person who commissioned it, and that's interesting that you copied it down to that detail. A lot of them don't have it and cut corners. Thought it would be something interesting to mention. So I've made a bunch more since then, and I really enjoyed making them because it's a piece that had a deep connection to my family, and it was really important, and dragons are fun. You're the dragon. So I finished a couple more commissions, so here's another white one. The green one, his mustache is a little crooked. Let me fix that. I said in a previous video that I was going to make a tutorial on how to recreate them. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not doing that. I'm not a woman of my word. This whole fiasco of my stuff being stolen has been like pretty upsetting, and I really don't want to make a tutorial, and I think that's it. In fact, I think I'm kind of done making patterns and tutorials. Or, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. Right now, I need to take a long break because it was just like, it's really frustrating right now. On different like AliExpress kind of websites, they are selling patterns and kits on how to make these hats. So they're selling like kits, here's a baseball cap, here's all the materials you need to make one and the instructions, and you can make one yourself at home. What the heck? I don't really know what to think of it. All of the ones that I've seen people make are mildly hideous. Let's talk about the unfortunate reality of how unethical this is. And this is also a not fun part. You're probably like, oh my gosh, you're holding me hostage. I just want to see you talk about the ugly recreates. Well, we're going to have to talk about the unfortunate reality of how unethical it is. Aside of how unethical it is to steal, I thought I would talk about how unethical it is to manufacture these hats. Unfortunately, a lot of these are priced at $10 to $15, which doesn't even cover the cost of yarn for me. It cost me $20 of yarn just for one of them, and then on top of that I have to dye it and this and that. Just to buy the yarn, it is $20. Just keep that in mind. A lot of these knockoffs are being sold for like $10, $15 USD. All of them are made out of acrylic. I read the descriptions. So acrylic is cheaper, but still, it must be really cheap acrylic, because acrylic sometimes is expensive. Knitwear can be made on a machine, but crochet can't. There is no such thing as a crochet machine, so that means someone has to crochet this all by hand, and that takes hours. So I have a breakdown about how long it takes me to make one of these hats. So it takes me about 4 days of on and off work to make a dragon hat, because I dye it, I wash it, I felt it, and I'm also crocheting it and sewing it together, and it's over 20 different pieces that I sew together. 20 different pieces. That's a lot of pieces. And I would guess it takes me over 10 hours just to make one. I may be lowballing myself. I honestly should time myself, but it really depends. I guess if you didn't have to felt it or dye anything, then maybe you could get it down to 5 hours if you like cut corners and took details out. Maybe, I don't know. But that still means whoever is making this isn't being paid a fair wage. I'm not going to go super in depth with the subject because there are a lot of other people that talk about how unethical this is in a better way. I just wanted to point out that whoever is making these hats is being paid unfair. And it sucks. It sucks to watch your design, something you love so much, the art you created, be taken and manufactured unethically. Not only sucks that they're stealing, but they're also using my design to exploit people for profit, which like sucks even more. Because it's like, oh, you took my design and then you're exploiting people for like if they're ethically made, then that's a whole nother conversation, but they're not. When you go on Shein.com, it's unethically made. How are you selling something for $20 and it's all hand crocheted? Like, that's ridiculous. I've never purchased anything from Shein, but from what I've heard, I took a screenshot and I sent it to my friends, and my friends were like, that's really expensive for Shein. Which is really sad that $23 is expensive and it's all handmade. Let's get into the funny part of the video, where I roast them. I would like to add that all of the pictures I am showing you today also used my face and my photos on their listings. I think there's literally maybe 1 or 2 that didn't use my direct photo, but vast majority to all of them literally just screenshotted my stuff and threw it up on their website. And the annoying part is my watermark is clear as day. You can see Alexandria Masse on one of the horns or just in the photo. It's irritating that there's no shame to that. And it's also false advertising. Like, you're buying something with that photo and you're not getting what you expected. But also, if you're buying from like AliExpress, do you ever get what you buy in the photo? I don't know. I've never purchased from AliExpress. I'm just glad I did my makeup good that day, because there are literally hundreds of listings out there with my face in my little dragon hat. There's hundreds of listings out there like that. And I'm just like, okay, Whatever. At least I look okay. Anyway, so I'm just going to leave the original up on the screen as a reminder of what it looks like, because sometimes I started looking at these ones and I was like, actually, this one's not that bad. And then I like looked at the one I originally made and I was like, actually, this is horrible. Let's get started. The first one I'm going to start off with is the Sheen one. I hate Sheen. I hate. Anyways, as you can see, they have the 2 horns and like the 3 little scales. And it's very clearly acrylic. It says on the website it's acrylic. They put like no effort into the eyeball, so I'm gonna say like minus points for the eyeball. The fact that there's no teeth is also kind of sad, and it's just like generally wrinkly on the top of the head, and I'm not a fan of that. I think that it looks better than I realized because it's made in black. I feel like because of the black and it's a very good lighting setup, it's a good photo, that, you know, they're kind of like disguising it to be good. I'd also like to point out, I think the mustache is a pipe cleaner maybe, and maybe, I don't know. A lot of them use pipe cleaners, which is like resourceful, very cool, but also like garbage. You're dressing your garbage up with more garbage. Anyways, I give this one a 2.5 out of 10, and I'm going to be really harsh. I'm going to be really harsh because I have the originals next to me, and I put a lot of effort into them, and I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to be nice about this, is basically what I'm saying. This next one also has the double 2 horns and the 3 scales. That is very clearly a pipe cleaner. That is definitely a pipe cleaner. Negative points because that eye is really creepy. It's not even like cool. It's just kind of freaking me out. And the horns look like hot dogs. Like this is, and also like all of them have hot dog horns. You're gonna see more hot dog horns. You're gonna have to get used to it. Anyways, those look like 2 hot dogs strapped to the head. Again, because it's in black, I feel like it kind of hides the messes. The teeth are black on it too. She's rotting. I don't know. All the dark ones I do have white teeth. So, what's your excuse, AliExpress? What's your excuse? Anyways, the acrylic yarn is like that weird fuzzy yarn, which like I'm not a huge fan of because it's just like microplastics galore. It makes things look fluffy, but I don't really like the texture. I'm just not a fan. Okay, I wrote down 4 out of 10, but now that I'm like talking about it, I think it deserves like a 3 or 3.5 out of 10 because it's not even a good shape. It's not giving. This next one, at first glance, I'm actually like, okay, you know, it's there, but the more I look into it, and when I compare it side to side with like my original, and they obviously tried to copy that very specific photo, so like it makes it look even worse. Of course, the same 2 horns, 3 scales kind of thing. I don't like that they stuffed the scales. Scales are not puffy. They look like cysts. The mustache just looks bad. It looks like, is it Dr. Evil? Who's the one from Sonic the Hedgehog? I think it's Dr. Evil. Yeah. It's not giving. It's flopping. It's kind of wrinkly on top, which I'm not a fan of. They really copied the original by trying to do like the white swirly eye and the black swirly eye. And, you know, like, I guess props for attention to detail and having absolutely no creativity. But, you know, they didn't do a good job. It looks like a mess. I will give them like plus points for how symmetrical it is. Like, that's pretty good that they got it symmetrical. But I'm going to have to do negative points because it has 1 snaggle tooth and the other tooth isn't snaggled. So it's just like, I don't know what's going on there. And I'm kind of concerned. Again, the horns look like hot dogs. So I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 10. This next one is kind of funky. Again, with the 2 horns and the 3 scales. But instead of having like the overlapping flat scales, it looks like a backwards E. And I guess, like, one of the manufacturers does the backwards E thing as the scales, which is just, like, why? I'm sorry, I can't get over the little sausage ears. Like, I'm not sausage ears. I can't get over the sausage horns. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, they're so, like, hot dog shaped. I will give them plus points for the color. Color, you know, that's pretty creative. I haven't done a blue one yet, and that blue is very bright. It's giving synthetic acrylic, and the eyes are kind of scary. I'm gonna be honest, the eyes are kind of scary, and the fact that it doesn't have like eyelids to, you know, not make it look terrifying is creeping me out. The mustache pipe cleaner is quite funny. I like how they did the swirly mustache. That's fun. The backwards E for the scales, oh my goodness, okay, that is brutal. It's very sloppy in the sense where you can see a lot of gaps and you can see like things. It's not like it's they're trying is all I gotta say. The eyes are really far apart. They're in different area codes. The nose is kind of phallic, and this is also another reoccurring issue is there's a lot of noses that are phallic. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 10 because yeah, it's terrifying and I don't like it, but I will give them points for that fun color. You know, the creativity is a bit fun. This one is very similar to the blue one I just reviewed. I assume it's the same manufacturer, but for some reason seeing it in this fleshy beige tone is completely different. Again, very similar in the sense where very hot dog horns. The eyes are scary, and I'm very concerned about how the eyelids like go around the eyes like that. I don't really like that. It's kind of giving crater. Again, this nose is so phallic. This nose is more phallic than the other ones, and I don't know how. I think it's the fleshy tone. I don't like it. I want it gone. 2.5. Actually, maybe even a 1, because it's creeping me out. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 for how phallic the nose is. It doesn't deserve anything better than that, because why would you do that? Alright, this one has 2 horns, 3 scales again. These scales are pointy and they stick out, so that's interesting. I'm going to give them points for how well done the eyes are. This is like, they put effort into this, and I gotta give them props for that. But the horns look like hot dogs. The eyebrows look like hot dog buns. The mustache is okay. I'd give them points. The mustache looks okay. The teeth look like molars instead of like pointy teeth. Not a huge fan of that. That's all I really gotta say about it. I think this might be the best made one. I don't know. Looking at like I need to see what it looks like on the head, to be honest. You know, they put some effort into the eyes, so give them props for doing the eyes swirly and cool. But the nose bridge and the eyebrows look like hot dog buns, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I will give it a 5 out of 10, because you can tell this one's a little bit better made. Now this one's a video, which this was one of the first ones I saw, and I was just like, what the heck? It's very big, and I think it looks big because it is on a child. Again, with copying the original very well, or not very well, or just attention to detail. Again, with the 2 horns and the scales. Again, the horns look like hot dogs. The horns just look like 4 hot dogs on the head. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's giving like balloon animal. It's very balloon animal-like. They did the swirlies in the black swirly on the eye, and they just like copied the original, and kind of tired of it. Like, get some creativity. I'm gonna have to deduct a lot of points because why did they put... Yeah, he's upset too. Why did they put a filter on a child? I'm sorry, but like in the video, you can see like 1 second, this child is like a normal child, and then like his face is slimmed. Yeah, do you want to say something? Alright. Yeah, Felix doesn't really like it either. Hey, knock it off. I'm gonna have to take off a lot of points for putting a filter on a child. Like, no child needs to have like face-tuned. Leave the poor kid alone. So 2 out of 10. Also, the mustache is whack. Don't like that. I gotta be honest, this one is pretty cool. This person has a very cool outfit on, and they are absolutely slaying every pose. So because of how dope the outfit is, I'm going to inflate this. I gotta be honest, like, it's a pretty much exact copy in the sense where, yeah, it's a white one, and it has the white swirly and the black swirly eye, blah, whatever, 3 scales, the 2 horns. I will give them plus points for not having hot dog horns, and the horns are a little different. They're kind of giving moose. So, you know, I gotta give them higher points for that creativity. Plus points for switching it up a little. By switching it up, I mean not making the horns look like hot dogs. And yeah, I'm gonna have to give it like a 5 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for the whole outfit. That's pretty good. He looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if that like long thing is attached to the hat or if that's hair, or maybe this is a character that I don't understand the reference to. Let me know. Alright, this one, also switching it up. They don't have hot dog horns, they have little cat ears, so gotta be honest, that's pretty cool. There is no mustache, there is no nose, there is no teeth. I gotta be honest, the eyebrows and the eyes are pretty symmetrical, that's good. They got eyelids as well. There's no horns or ears. It's kind of giving cat, but it's just like missing some pizzazz. The upper lip just kind of looks like a hot dog bun as well, because there's nothing else on it, which may be what they were going for. It's just missing that pizzazz, and it's kind of just there. But it is constructed well and symmetrically, so I will give it a 3 out of 10. Yeah, 3 out of 10. That's fair. I'm not a huge fan of the acrylic fluffy yarn, but I am just like not the biggest fan of that. Okay, again, this one has the 2 horns and the 3 scales. The top horn is bigger than the smaller horn, which I don't really like. There's no mustache, the eyes are kind of far apart, and the eyes are kind of small for the head, no eyelids, and also just creepy. Not the worst, and I will admit, it's kind of cute, but there's also like a very heavy beauty filter on this photo. In the other photos, it's not as appealing. Yeah, in just this main photo, the beauty filter is probably making it look better. Also, she does not need to be face-tuned. Like, enough with the Facetune, enough with like the flattening of everything. She is cute. It's just, I'm not a huge fan of the Facetune kind of look. Yeah, so sorry, negative points for the excessive Facetune. I don't really know what to rate this one as, because like in one photo it looks good, and then other photos it looks like hot garbage. Also, there's no whiskers, there's no like mustache whiskers. Maybe like a 2.5 out of 10. So it has the 2 horns and 3 scales. The horns look like hot dogs again. These ones are giving breakfast sausage, not like big hot dog, but like little breakfast sausages. Again, not a huge fan of the hot dog horns. It's not very like smooth and cohesive. It's just kind of like, here's a hot dog bun as an eyebrow. Here's a hot dog as the horns. Maybe I'm just hungry. The eyebrows are like kind of going off, like he's so surprised his eyebrows are popping off of his head. I gotta admit, the eyes are kind of cool, like they put effort into the eyeballs, but if it wasn't for the eyes, I'd just be like, what is this balloon animal like doing? And it's just kind of boring. Again, I'm kind of bored of like the exact recreations of my original piece. Like, please give me something new. I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 10. Like, yes, it's constructed a little better, but I'm kind of bored. And it's giving hot dog. This is the last one for now. So, this one reminds me, I think it's the Never Ending Story. So this one's angry. The eyes are kind of cool. I gotta admit, coolest eyes. They're pretty sick. The ear is similar to the other hot dog looking ones, where like the ear looks like a backwards E. Not a fan of how that looks. The pipe cleaner as a mustache, but it's not even in the shape of a mustache. He looks like he was just electrocuted and his like mustache is up. Not the biggest fan. I think if it wasn't for the really cool eyes, I would hate it like 10 times more. But because the eyes are kind of cool, and I kind of like the original gray color, you know, gray is pretty good. I do like that, so I will give them props for that. But otherwise, yeah, no, not really a huge fan. And I really don't like that yarn. I'm not a huge fan of the corn on the cob kind of look, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10, and I know that's kind of harsh, but if it wasn't for the eyeballs, yeah, I wouldn't like it at all. So yeah, I think those are all of the ones I wanted to talk about. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if I keep finding more garbage plagiarized work. I know that's mean, and I know I'm using the P word, but it's kind of necessary. It's not okay for companies to see an artwork an artist did and then immediately think, okay, let's throw this thing into production, let's copy it exactly, and let's sell it to people and from different dropshipping websites. That's not cool. And it's especially not cool when companies like Etsy allow sellers to use my photos to sell knockoffs. I think the most frustrating part is that the vast majority of these listings are using my photos and my face with my watermark in the photo to sell their garbage products. That's not fair. That's not fair, that's not normal. Don't support places like this. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're probably not gonna look this up and then buy some, because it's like, they're not well made. They're not made by people that are being paid fairly, and are not made with good materials. Not everything, not every garment, not every piece of artwork needs to be put into mass production. I have a lot of people saying, like, you know, you don't create enough of these things, so that's why Chinese manufacturers are creating it and other people are buying it. Like, no, that's not fair. Just because it exists and just because people want it, that doesn't make it right to exploit people for labor and to sell it. Not everything needs to be mass produced. Not everything needs to be put in a factory and sold a bunch of times. Art is allowed to be original and creative, and that's how I feel about it. By supporting websites with really cheap products, you're paying for cheap quality, and for people not to be paid a fair wage. That is the unfortunate reality of things, but I'm glad we could talk about it, and I'm glad we could kind of laugh about it, make fun of the ugly garbage things that are out there. Let's hope things like this aren't continued in the future. Anyways, if you enjoyed this kind of sit-down talking episode and you want me to do more in the future, let me know. I would love to do more of these. I had kind of fun filming this. I'm not going to have fun editing this, I realize, but oh well. And I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.